Next, I have an amazing individual with us, Senator Omer Raines. He's an American politician. He is an attorney, an author, a humanist, and eco-entrepreneur. And he is doing amazing things in the world since he retired from politics. But more importantly, he overcame a brain aneurysm and stroke that took him down to a place where they thought he would never walk again or do anything really useful in life, and he has become more productive around the world, opening orphanages, bringing to developing nations all kinds of great reading tools, and it's just incredible the work he's doing. And I would love to introduce him to you now. Omer? So I had the opportunity to interview Omer for our published magazine, and we've become friends and doing some work together, including bringing his book Back to the Summit to #1 international bestseller. And so, Omer, I'd love to hear and have you tell people, in addition to this incredible political career that you've had, what made you decide to write the book?
Before I do that, I do want to correct or disagree with something Dr. Farmer said. He was brilliant. I agreed with everything with one exception. He wants to die in his sleep. I'm 74 years of age. I want to die with my head banging against the headboard.
Oh.
Anyway, in response to Vicky's question, because I don't think that was the question. In 2002, I was 61 years of age. I was in pretty good shape. I really was. Led a fairly active life, whether it was athletic or otherwise. But a cascade of events happened at that time. I had the death of my mother. My only sibling, my brother, died shortly thereafter. My father, married to my mother for 66 years, was failing rapidly. And during this time, my wife of over 30 years filed for divorce. My body broke, the doctors think, under stress, because I was trying to do too much to take care of everyone. There was no genetic predisposition of which we are aware, but I suffered a massive brain aneurysm and an associated hemorrhagic stroke. It's a series of miracles, and it's set forth in this book, Back to the Summit, how one man defied death and paralysis to again lead a full life of service to others. But what happened, and I have an 8-day period of retrograde and antegrade amnesia, but I ended up in a hospital. Series of miracles about the way in which I had an operation that had never been tried before to treat an aneurysm, at least not in the US. It had been developed very recently in London. Thereafter, it was a 9-hour operation involving multiple physicians, and thereafter I was 8 days in a coma. When I came out, I was not only paralyzed, but did not immediately have the ability to recollect or to communicate. I was 5 weeks in critical condition, ICU, near death, and when eventually, and by that time I had recovered the ability to recollect and communicate, but I was paralyzed, carried home on a gurney in a paralytic state, told I would never walk again. My life had been an unusual life, I think, by any standard or measure. I was born in the Missouri Ozarks. No running water, no electricity, obviously no TV, no telephone, no radio. Not really the type of upbringing that most people probably have. It was 1941. Franklin Delano Roosevelt was president. And by the way, along the way, I have known 7 presidents, and I've worked with many of them. So I've had a wonderful life that probably could have occurred only in this country and perhaps a few others. But all of a sudden, I was paralyzed. I was in a paralytic state, told I would never walk again. Every time I was told that, and I was told that frequently, I wouldn't say it aloud, but I would say to myself, bullshit. I'm going to walk within 30 days. Within 60 days, I'm going to shoot some hoops. Within 90 days, I'm going to do some spring skiing. Within 120 days, I'm going to play some softball, bike, tennis, and thereafter, everything. That actually happened, as chronicled in this book, the way in which that happened. To this day, every doctor involved tells me, and it's been written up in medical journals, it defies medical explanation. So there's something there more powerful. And I think a great deal of it has to do with just sheer tenacity, determination, and hard work built on a life of overcoming one challenge after another. And there may be other powers there as well. I don't know. All I know is that I've been blessed. So since that time, I have dedicated my entire life to humanitarian activities in rural and remote parts of the developing world. Building libraries, economic development projects, women's empowerment centers, orphanages, and so on in rural and remote areas. Primarily in Nepal, India, and Bhutan, but also in Latin America and Africa. In fact, I just recently returned from Bolivia and Nicaragua, where I had orphanage projects on which I was working. So I think that's responsive to your question, probably more so than you wanted to hear.
That's so wonderful. And considering the amazing work you're doing and the fact that so much of it's chronicled in the book, what made you come into doing so much fabulous work? I mean, coming from a place where you were not even able to move, and then all of a sudden doing work that's noted all over the world. How did that happen, and what emotionally happened in you to make you want to do that?
Well, from an emotional standpoint, it clearly was that when I came to the point where I could move and began to acquire some facility, whether it was walking or doing other things, I came powerfully to the realization that of all the things that I had done in my life, and I have been blessed in so many ways, that what would be more enriching than anything I'd ever done is giving back, helping others. And I decided then and there I would dedicate my life to that end. And that's what I've done.
And part of that is the book, because the book it's such a beautiful book, and it's really written to give others hope and inspiration that when I read it would just beyond belief. So thank you so much for that, and so much for your contribution to the world.
The reason I wrote the book, incidentally, was to inspire others, because many of us, perhaps most of us at one time or another, we get knocked down. We suffer a stroke, we suffer from cancer, we suffer from one great malady or another, or we have loved ones who do. And if I could inspire one person to try harder and to overcome that malady or challenge encountered, then I am blessed, and the book was worth writing.
Fabulous. And with that in mind, we have something very special for you, Omer. It's our Mindfulness in Action Award, and we've started giving this for outstanding contributions, and we would like to have you be one of our recipients this year to receive the award.
heavy. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Omer. And any parting thoughts?
Only that when you get knocked down, Dr. Farmer said this, you get back up and you forge forward. Always forward. Never, never, never give up. I have learned that those who do not have that mindset generally don't recover. You've got to have a positive thought process and keep it.
Thank you so much, Omer.